In late May 2008, a sprawling storm system unleashed one of the largest multi-day tornado outbreaks on record across the United States plains. From May 22nd through 27th, 173 tornadoes were confirmed across the central states. The violent weather spanned 5 days, causing 13 deaths, 12 from tornadoes and 1 from a lightning strike, and over $343 million in damage. The deadliest tornado was an EF5 wedge that obliterated the south side of Parkersburg and New Hartford, Iowa on May 25th. 9 were killed and most of the town's homes were flattened. In all, this historic outbreak left 13 fatalities and 215 injuries. This was one of the largest continuous tornado episodes ever recorded in the United States. Hello, and welcome to Deadliest Disasters. The outbreak was driven by a slow-moving upper air trough over the Rockies and a strong surface low in the plains. A warm front was draped across the Central Plains by May 22nd, and the National Weather Service had already placed northern Kansas under a high-risk, severe weather outlook that day. Forecasters noted abundant Gulf moisture and high atmospheric instability, combined with strong wind shear that would make for a multiple-day threat of storms. These storms repeatedly tapped warm, humid air and shear, spawning long-lived tornadoes across Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri, Minnesota, Iowa, and beyond. On May 22nd, a long-tracked EF5 tornado swept northwest through eastern Colorado, passing near Greeley and striking Windsor. This rare northwest track tornado widened to about 1 mile as it reached Windsor. 1 man died when he tried to flee in a motorhome at a trailer park. The storm caused massive destruction. Over 850 homes were damaged and nearly 300 homes destroyed. The tornado peeled roofs off buildings, leveled entire neighborhoods, and even flattened the town's main cattle feedlot, killing almost 400 dairy cows. Aerial surveys later found that dozens of large power transmission towers were snapped off at the base by the violent winds. Over 60,000 customers lost power. In total, insured losses in Windsor were about $147 million, which at the time was the costliest tornado disaster in Colorado history. The Windsor outbreak was one of 17 reported tornadoes in Colorado and Kansas that day. Fortunately, only 1 fatality occurred. Late on May 23rd, a powerful nocturnal tornado in south-central Kansas struck Pratt County. It lifted a car off Highway 54 and flung it roughly 250 yards into a wheat field, killing a married couple who were in the vehicle. The bodies of 33-year-old Gary Whitlow and 29-year-old Kimberly Whitlow of Rocky Ford, Colorado, were found the next morning in the field after the tornado. This tornado was just one of at least 17 that hit western and central Kansas that night. Many rural homes, barns, and oil tanks were damaged or destroyed by these storms. In Pratt County and neighboring Stafford and Lane counties, a dozen homes were flattened, with a total of at least 2 confirmed tornado-related deaths. Governor Kathleen Sebelius later noted the tragedy is part of what was becoming a historic outbreak for Kansas. On the afternoon of May 25th, a violent EF5 tornado ripped through Hugo, Minnesota, a suburb northeast of Minneapolis. The storm struck the Water's Edge, Creekview Preserve neighborhoods, demolishing dozens of homes. According to the Star Tribune, 50 houses were leveled and 159 more damaged in Hugo by this single tornado. Tragically, a young family was directly in the tornado's path. 2-year-old Nathaniel Prindle was killed when he was blown from his home and into a pond behind it. Nathaniel's parents and older sister were severely injured, but survived. The mother was thrown back into the house by the wind. Minnesota officials tallied roughly $25 million in property losses in Hugo. In total, 9 people were injured, including 8 with serious injuries, even though only 1 life was lost. Hugo's recovery continued for years afterward, as volunteers helped residents clear debris and rebuild. Parkersburg was by far the hardest hit community. On May 25th, around 4:46 p.m., a colossal EF5 tornado touched down southwest of Applington and charged northeast toward Parkersburg, Iowa. The tornado rapidly grew to 3/4 of a mile wide as it entered the town. It scoured the entire south side of Parkersburg, including the high school and hundreds of homes. State and local emergency responders reported that roughly 1/3 of the town's housing was destroyed by the storm. A National Weather Service survey later confirmed that nearly 200 homes were obliterated on Parkersburg's south edge. The tornado remained at EF5 strength as it crossed Beaver Creek into New Hartford. There, it leveled the Oak Hill Cemetery area and several brick homes. Finally, it weakened east of New Hartford, continuing toward Dunkerton, where it caused further major damage to farms before dissipating. In Parkersburg and nearby New Hartford, 9 people were killed and about 50 injured. 7 of the victims were in Parkersburg and 2 were in New Hartford. Most of those killed were in their homes on the storm's path. For example, Parkersburg's high school custodian lost his life as he sheltered in the hallway. His body was found under rubble. The loss was devastating for the town of only 1,400. One Parkersburg resident later described how the tornado left her 102-year-old house looking as if it were made of toothpicks and bubblegum, crumbling around her in seconds. Afterward, they described how volunteers and neighbors poured into Parkersburg to help clear debris and rebuild. The best way to build this town back up is with dedicated volunteers, said one resident, reflecting on the community's resilience. By late 2009, new houses were rising on New Parkersburg's destroyed blocks, and even the local high school field had grass growing, a sign the town was slowly restoring normal life. This EF5 tornado was the first EF5 in Iowa since a 1976 tornado that hit near Jordan, and only the third EF5 recorded in the U.S. in the prior decade. And the Parkersburg, New Hartford tornado was the only EF5 recorded that year. The total property damage was enormous. National Weather Service estimates put Parkersburg, New Hartford losses at about $75 million in 2008 dollars. Virtually every building along the tornado's core path was destroyed or heavily damaged. Many inhabitants lost everything, with few possessions surviving the night. Parkersburg's slow recovery stands as a reminder of how a single tornado can almost erase an entire town. The May 2008 outbreak remains historically significant. It ranks amongst the longest and most active multi-day tornado episodes ever recorded in history. For Iowa, the EF5 Parkersburg tornado was once-in-a-generation disaster. As of now, it was the last EF5 Iowa has ever seen. In terms of human impact, the Parkersburg tornado alone killed as many people as all other U.S. tornadoes in 2008 combined. In Kansas, the overnight tornadoes of May 23rd marked one of the year's deadliest 12-hour periods. The Colorado storm was notable as Colorado's costliest tornado, widest tornado, and second longest track tornado in recorded history. Across the Central Plains, memories of this outbreak linger in the shattered homes and rebuilt neighborhoods. Survivors emphasize both the horror and the hope. Horror at how quickly ordinary houses and lives were wiped out, and hope in how communities rallied. As one Parkersburg resident put it, the town will never look the same, yet shared tragedy brought out a determination to rebuild stronger. The May 2008 outbreak is studied by meteorologists as a textbook example of a prolonged, high-shear, severe weather setup. For affected towns, the lesson is a human one. The valiant efforts of neighbors and first responders can help a town be built back up even after it was blown away in minutes. Thank you all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover. This has been Deadliest Disasters.